Oh,
All right, everyone, welcome. Welcome to our monthly webinar. We are so happy you're here. You might notice we have a guest with us tonight, and I'm so excited. Today's session is called Under the Hood, the new TriDot app, and our guide into the new app is Ken Prasuti. He is the head of Program Management Office at Predictive Fitness, the creators of TriDot. Ken sits at the intersection of strategy and delivery. He helps decide what gets built and make sure that it happens. So Ken, I know you've got a lot on your hands. So he definitely knows this new app inside and out. Please let us welcome Ken to our webinar tonight.
awesome. Thank you so much, April. Super excited to be here and so glad that I could be with your athletes, those that are live and those that will catch on the replay, whether you're catching it live. Hope you can ask some questions. And if you've got it on the replay, certainly feel free to reach out to me with any thoughts or comments you had. ken.persuti@tridot.com. That'll get you to me and I'd be happy to answer any questions or take any feedback that you have. So, with that being said, we did roll out a new version of the app a couple of months ago. Most of our athletes throughout the TriDot universe have already made the jump and grabbed it. We still have a few stragglers out there. So if you haven't yet adopted it, hopefully can show you some things that you thought you might be missing that you actually aren't. They might just live in a different place, and would definitely love to hear if there's anything that you are actually missing. And before I get the question, we've got lots of thoughts around the mythical creatures and animals coming our way, the unicorns, the narwhals, the pegacorns. I can say that they have been building up and they are still behind the gates in their pens, but they are about to break free from those gates, and I don't think there's much that I can even do to hold them back anymore. So keep your eye out if you've liked seeing those bonuses come through. We've got some fun things in store for you sooner rather than later. So, with all that being said, I thought what we would do is we would take a look at the app, take a look at some of the most requested features, where they live, show you how to best navigate it as an athlete, and then spend some time on questions if they're out there. So let me see. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here, and I'm not 100% sure if it'll let me share straight from my iPhone or if I'm going to have to mirror my desktop. So just give me a second and let me see if I can figure this out. I
And while
think,
Ken's doing that, the reason why we wanted to focus on this for this month is because yes, the app has been out for a few months, and we want to clear up any confusion on how best to use it. And it is an awesome product. So there's so many things and advancements that Ken's going to walk us through that are going to entice you to come over. So please, by all means, we will have time for questions at the end, but let's put our growth hats on here.
yeah, absolutely. Number one, probably the most important thing to know is that what you see here is very much the front end that allows you to interact with the application. All of the core technology that's on the back end, that 20 plus years of machine learning and AI that we've been doing, is all very much the same. So the engine that we've trained on all of that athlete data to help identify what actually gets results, not what, some random coach thinks provides the best results, is all of the same. So all of the stuff related to NTS, to your TrainX scores, to your zones, to the environmental normalization, that is all the same. It's just being displayed to you in a little bit of a different manner. So a couple of things that you see here first initially on the home screen. You've got that first block, which we call the hero section, and that's going to identify any workouts that you have planned for the day. So see here today, and just FYI, let's not judge whether workouts have been completed or not completed or the TrainX scores they've achieved. This is my own personal athlete account, so you are looking at my real data. That being said, You can see there's a strength workout on here today. And in the upper right-hand corner where it says strength, you can see that there's a little dot there indicating there's multiple workouts on the day. So if I just swipe to the right or left with my finger, it's going to pull up the other workout. And so you see here, there was a run test that was done today and a 67 on that. And this is actually, you can see this is showing Monday's date. This was yesterday. That's because I actually had selected Monday. I did go out, I did my run yesterday. You might say, what is a CP run test? Like that doesn't sound like a workout that I've normally seen before. Now, I'm not trying to give any advanced sneak previews here, but for your coaches, we might be providing them soon with the ability to give more customized workouts. So just so you know, some of the workouts you see on here might be under the hood kind of things that we've not yet exposed, but hopefully that whets your appetite a little bit for some of the cool things that are going to be able to come and some of the different things your coaches are going to be able to put you through in the future. So just very quickly again, that hero, you scroll through the day's workouts by just swiping left or swiping right. You'll see right below that, I have a calendar bar that I can also scroll back and forth. And you can see there, it's selected on Monday the 20th, which is why we're looking at yesterday's workouts. If I click on today, which is what will normally load if you start your app up fresh, you're going to get today's workout. So you see today I have a set of threshold intervals. I've got my stats that are associated with that. And again, just an easy way to see what I have to do today. If I click on any of these workouts, it's going to take me into the workout details specifically. So you'll see there's my warm up listed there as traditional. There's my main set. My zone targets are down here at the bottom. If I click on zone targets, it's going to show me exactly what those ranges are. So my zones on the low end, on the high end, and it gives you a little overview about what the zones are if you're not familiar with them, if you're a new athlete or you just need a refresher. I'm going to step back out of there and scroll up again, and then you see the workout bars on there. Now, again, in terms of threshold intervals, this workout probably looks a little bit different than you might see when you have typical threshold intervals. That's because my coach is playing a little bit with my workout here today, and he's actually changed it up just a little bit based on some of my prior performances and some of my injuries that I've got. So you see my recoveries are maybe a little bit lower than are planned in there. But if you're used to just the traditional workouts, they're going to look exactly like they do in the original app. And in the new app, if your coach starts playing with them a little bit, you're going to see some changes come in there, which is going to be super fun and super cool for anybody who is coached. And that's one of the really great benefits of having a coach is as you talk to them, they're telling you what to do, how you might be able to better approach workouts. We're building in all of that functionality for those coaches. Now, on this workout specifically, if I want to change anything, right, you see it's scheduled here for 6 a.m. and obviously it is well past 6 a.m. If I click up on that gear icon on the upper right, then I can go down to adjust workout, which you see from the bottom. If I click on adjust workout, here is where I can change that time. So I'm going to actually set this, like I am still going to convince myself that I can do this tonight. So we'll call that a 9 p.m. workout. So that's going to update. And then just like in the previous app, whether it's indoor or outdoor, that's going to update the environmental normalization and it's going to change my power prescription for the workout itself because it's going to be hopefully not too much warmer at 9 p.m. than it was at 6 p.m. here in Pittsburgh, but it definitely it definitely could be with the weather we've been having. So environmental normalization will kick in, my zone targets will adjust for the workout, and then I'll be able to go out and execute the actual plan itself. Also in here, you've got the option to send the workout. So if you've got yourself hooked up to several devices like I do here, if I know I'm going to do this on the trainer, I'll probably tap Zwift. I'm going to actually do this outdoors, so I might tap Wahoo, hit send workout. So most of the workouts do auto load and auto populate automatically already. But if for some reason you're not seeing it come over because you changed the time prior to when your Garmin or your Wahoo did its sync, you can just go in and you can resend it. Super simple, super easy like that. So that's the look at the workout. I'm going to hit the home button back on the bottom menu to take me back to that home screen where we started. And I'm going to show you one other area that I really like. So for me, normally I trust that my coach has all my workouts updated. When I open the app, I know what I'm going to do. So this is the most important screen for me, and then to click into those actual workouts themselves. But if I want to take a look at what I've got set up for the whole week, a lot of folks are familiar with opening up the original TriDot app, and you kind of see your whole week there is the first thing that you see. You can either click in the upper right-hand corner where there's a little calendar icon, and that's going to bring up the entire week. And then if you want, you'd be able to drop and drag different workouts into different days based on what you can actually do. I'm not going to do that because I've already locked all these in with my coach, and I don't want him to be like, "What are you doing, Ken?" So very easy to make those changes though. And then if you tap that icon, that calendar icon again in the upper right-hand corner, it's going to bring up the whole month. So you can get a really nice overview if I know that I'm going to be traveling next weekend or the weekend after that, and I might want to see what my workouts look like. I can easily navigate to them. I could click on the run here. It's going to give me a very brief overview, but then I could dive into the full session if I wanted to see what actually was lined up. Now, this one's set up very far in advance. Well, actually, no, it's not set up far in advance, but it's one that was a custom session. So it's not populating all of the details right now on it. But for any workouts that you do have that have the details available, right? We know we can only see so far in the future because a lot of things potentially change based on what you're doing, what you're not doing, and how the environment is updating. All of those details will be in there. And at a minimum, you can at least see, oh, I've got a 3 hour ride scheduled in 2 weeks. I know that I'm planning to do some family activities. I better get ahead and talk to my coach about moving that or adjusting that or changing that however I need to. So that's the functionality here with that upper right hand calendar view. Scrolling down a little bit further on the homepage, anything that is popping up that you might need to be aware of is going to be on what we call the ribbon here. So the ribbon, if there's an action I can take, I could add a race. That's always going to be available for you. You see here, I've got a notification that my critical power and watt test ride was processed. If you did a threshold repeats workout or any other type of workout that you had, once the app sucks in that data, does the analysis on it for you, gives you a TrainX score, you're going to get notified that it's ready to view by clicking on the ribbon, and it's going to take you right into that session so that you can see all of the details. And so in the details here, I've got my charts. I can expand those charts if I want to look at them individually or if I want to look at them combined, I can do that. I've got all of my regular general stats here that I would have in the old app. I've got the zone targets, how much time was planned in each of those targets, how much time I actually spent in those zones. Again, we're not judging the actual execution of these individual sessions by the athlete that completed them because they're a little bit off. And if I wanted to go back in and see what the original workout prescription was, I can tap workout description and I can see that. And then scrolling back up here, I do think that one thing that we're gonna have to change just a little bit to make it obvious is where you see need help, message your coach. Maybe I don't need help, but maybe I just want to message my coach and let them know how the session went. I can click on that, message your coach, and then I'm able to provide feedback there for my coach. I can type those in, and he's going to get those. And if my coach had left any comments in there for me prior to the workout, I would see them here. But I just had a conversation with my coach. He didn't leave me any input here. That's why you're not seeing that conversation yet. But if there is no conversation, you get the need help, message your coach message. All right, so that's the ribbon. And now as I scroll down, we've got my dots where I'm currently at. So swim dot, bike dot, run dot. I can tap on those and it's going to give me a little walkthrough the first time I tap on it to tell me what is my dot score, why is it important, what does it do. There's a little X up there I can click on to get rid of that. And then I can see my bike score. I can see how I did on my last threshold. I can click into here and view my historical dot scores. So I can see that I've increased a little bit. On the last one here. And then if I need to manually update my threshold, I can do that just by clicking the add bike assessment if I've got a manual number that I want to include in there. That works the same way for the dot score, the bike score, and the run score. We've also got a weekly TrainX. So Right now, because I've not been super good sticking to my plan, my train X right now for the week is 0. But last week I had a 59, right? So better than it had been in the past, and mainly because I'm busy working on the app here. I've not been able to get the training in that I want. But you'll have a very high level overview of what your weekly train X score is, right? And again, even with these workouts here, I can see what my workout Train X score is. And I want to pause just for a moment to talk about Train X scores because everybody is always shooting for 100, and we think if we don't get 100, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. Anything above a 70, I really coach my athletes to, hey, that's a really good workout, right? And we're not chasing numbers just for the sake of chasing numbers. The Train X score is very much a feedback mechanism. So just say, oh, I had a 30. Like, was that good? Was that bad? Does that mean I'm on track or off track to meet my race goals? And the answer is it just depends, right? If you're scoring a 30 on every single workout and it's because you're, doing 20-minute workouts instead of 60-minute workouts, then we're probably not on track. If maybe you're scoring a little bit lower because you've hit those sessions a little bit harder, well, maybe you're still building that underlying fitness. Maybe you're just doing it in a way that we don't think is the healthiest way. But you might still be on track for your race. So like the Train X score itself is not a standalone indicator to say I'm on target or I'm off target. It's a number that says we should have a conversation around what's happening, right? And what's happening could be okay, or what's happening could mean there's some things that we need to work around. So I just like to pause and say that 100 is not always what you should expect, and to use this number, whether it's the TrainX score that is on your individual workout or whether it's your weekly TrainX score, it's just a feedback mechanism to help you and your coaches understand where to dive in and ask the right questions. So, hope that also helps. So that's on your main dashboard homepage here. Additionally, my upcoming races, I see the closest upcoming race on the dashboard. If I click into that, it will bring up the race details for me, and I can look at the predicted time, my target paces, can use this to have a conversation with my coach. If I come back here and I click on view all, I'll see all of the races that I have on my calendar. I can add races here right in the app, and you've got all of the options that you normally have, and it's all self-contained right there. Now, if I want to get a little bit deeper into these things, I can go to the menu up top and I can launch RaceX, which is going to open up in a web browser. And so that's where I could go in and do my traditional RaceX updates. We are coming up with even more exciting versions of RaceX. And so stay tuned for those, but you'll definitely want to be in the new app for when all of that launches. All right, let's go back here and back to our home screen. Down here, I've got some weekly progress metrics, how much stress I've accumulated throughout the week in terms of normalized training stress. If I click in here, I get the first time, hey, here's a little bit of information about normalized training stress, why it's so important. Come out of there. And then I can see sort of the historical weekly training stress averages. And the same is true for XP, for sessions, right? I think a lot of times people don't realize this session 1 of 8 completed right now, how important that actually is too, because we don't get TrainX score number per se. On that, but I have my athletes always look at that number because consistency is such an important thing in the sport. So even if we don't hit the targets of every single workout, or we might be falling short a little bit, just to know that you're getting up and you're getting out there and you're doing that thing, like consistency is a key metric for me. So I'm always having my athletes pay attention to that session and having the goal of getting that turned up as close to the actual prescribed number as it can be. And then also we've got duration down there. So if you're like, hey, how much does my coach have planned for me for the week? Or how much does the system have planned for me for the week? You've got your duration down on the left. So for me, I've completed 53 minutes and change out of the 6 hours and 48 minutes that I'm planned for this week. And so right now, okay, not so bad. It's Tuesday, right? But if that number looks that way on Friday, I better be having a conversation with my coach about, hey, I screwed up this week. How should we come into the weekend? Like, can I make anything up? The answer is probably no, surprise, right? But the answer might be, let's add an extra half hour to this run or that run in zone two, or something along those lines. So all of that is right there on the home screen for you. Where I really like to go with this in the future too is allowing you to do more customizations of the home screen. So if your dots, because they don't change all that much, aren't as important to you, you could put them wherever you want to put them, right? You could bring up some of these consistency metrics or add other metrics that you really want to track as an athlete. So moving to this new app, moving to this new setup is really paving the way for us to be able to introduce all of those advanced features down the road. And I hope down the road is not that far away with the new app and the new technology stack that we're using. We're able to iterate so much more rapidly than we ever were before. So that's the main page here. That's all the things that you can do from it. A few other things to call out. I'm going to jump back on today's workout. You see a little runner man next down there, and you also see a play button down there. Both of those are going to give me the option to execute this workout using the app itself. So if the little runner man, I click on if I know, hey, I've only got one workout today and it's scheduled and I want to do it. Or I could just click on the play button and you see there's still record today's threshold intervals as well. There's also record my own ride or record my own run if you don't want to do today's workout for whatever reason. So like quite honestly, after this call, I'm probably not going to do that bike, but I probably am going to take the dog for a run. So when I'm doing that, I might click on just record my own run. And so if you don't have a watch with you or you forgot to bring it, or maybe you're on the bike and, buying a watch, buying a bike computer, all of these things are expensive. I don't love looking at my watch when I'm on the bike, but if I don't have a bike computer, I could actually use my phone, right? It's a lot cheaper to buy a $20, $30 snap-on kind of, you know, phone holder for my handlebars than to go buy a whole bike computer. And so if I hit record, I can set my preferences. Outdoor bike, I want to do it by power or heart rate, we'll go power. And then right now, if I had my bike with me, I would have the option to connect my power meter or just use connect my heart rate or just use GPS satellites. Here it's picking up my kicker. It's in the basement, and then I could select, what device I want to use for these. So maybe I want to use my Whoop for my heart rate, or maybe I have a heart rate strap on. I don't want to use the Whoop. The heart rate strap would show up here. I can click that. And then we're going to just say this is an indoor ride right now since I don't have a bike computer hooked up to it. I'm gonna hit start workout, and now I've got a screen in front of me. The screen is showing me the interval one is 5 minutes. That's my warm up, and that's probably going to send me into some spin ups. I can slide through here. I can see what the actual prescription for the ride looks like. As I'm executing this ride, I will see a line that's being drawn with is my power within those bars? Is it higher than the bars? Is it lower than the bars? Helps me know if I'm on target or off target. We've got some FTP adjustments in here that if you're using this to control your smart trainer, you can do all of that from inside the app. And then you can basically create a screen with whatever metrics that you want to see or that are important to you while you're executing that ride. So again, another nice feature here is if you've got a smart trainer and you don't want to spend an extra $20 a month for Zwift or Trainer Road or whatever application you're using, you could run it all through the app, right? So that's kind of nice. Now, personally, I use Zwift, so I don't usually use the in-app execution on this just because I'm a Zwiftie, but it's nice option to have, especially for newer athletes who are looking to save some cash on a variety of different things. So those two options there. And sometimes I will even use the record my own option or the option that I'm using when I'm outside on my runs because I can set up a audio coach in here under the activity settings and I can have it talking to me and telling me, am I on pace? Am I off pace? And it's just coming over top of whatever playlist I'm listening to on my headphones. And then also just because I love Garmin, I'm using my Garmin watch to record it as well. So when the workout is complete, I actually don't save the one I recorded on my phone in the app. I save the Garmin one. It's going to sync over, but I still had the voice coach in my ear telling me if I was on pace or off pace throughout the workout itself. So just another nice little feature that you might find useful. All right, we've been through a lot so far. I want to show you guys some of the social functions that we have in there that allow you to connect to other athletes, and then also how to adjust some of your different settings and all of those things that you would traditionally do, again, kind of within user preferences. But in terms of what we've covered so far, I don't have the chat up in front of me. I don't know if there are any questions or anybody wants to jump in quickly. Okay.
No
Yeah,
questions yet, but great job.
I've got one for you, Ken, or
Oh,
maybe just some
yeah.
context.
Yeah.
By the way, first of all, this is fantastic. And you're right. The voice coach is amazing. I love the positivity. Hey, you must be you're my, anyway, it's a lot of fun. My question is, we have some athletes that are self-coached. Could you, as you go through some of these features, just, kind of speak to what, and you're doing a great job of this, but just maybe emphasize, or if there's anything else that they can do in terms of like adjusting intensity. You already talked about changing the day or the day of the week and, things like that, but anything that they have control of or that might be coming, might be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you are not a self-coach athlete, cover your ears because we coaches don't want you changing these things on us. And we are coaches just in the future going to give you the ability to lock your athletes down. So they have to either stick with the pain cave you're putting them into, or go way easier when we want them to go easy. Because if your athletes are like mine, everybody wants to go harder, right? So. For self-coached athletes, if you come into this workout, I've got this workout scheduled tomorrow. This is a workout that my coach has not yet modified for me. So if I come into the settings again and I go back to that adjust workout, you'll see I've got a few different options here. So workout intensity, this is a 6 out of 10, right? And the numbers are going to mean a little bit something different for everybody. So a 6 for me on a very similar threshold repeat workout might not be the same for Rich or April or other athletes. The intensity is really based off of what you've been able to handle so far, what your longest sessions are, what your thresholds are, and also what your training stress profile is. So, a lot of self-coached athletes don't even realize we've got this thing called a training stress profile. And the system, again, adapts based off of what you're doing, what you're not doing, how well you're able to hit your intensities, what your thresholds are changing. If you've uploaded a genetic profile from 23andMe or Ancestry.com, right? We know that you may be genetically predisposed to certain types of injuries. The training stress profile is based off of that. That helps generate what your intensity levels actually get. So it's very specific by athlete. So I'll call that out first. If I look at this, I'm like, hey, I'm feeling really good today, right? My Whoop tells me I'm in the green, and I know Thursday is typically an easy day for me. I've got an easy bike on Thursday. Let me just crank this up a little bit from a 6 to a 7, right? I can then apply those changes, and it's going to give me a harder workout. So that's number one that you can do. And then the workout duration you see here is scheduled for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm gonna say, you know what, I only have an hour tomorrow, so let me back that down. I can go harder, but I can only go for an hour. Apply those changes, and it's going to adjust this workout for me. So you can see it added a fourth interval in there for me. It pulled the zone two time at the end of the workout down by 5 or 10 minutes. And now I've got an hour workout scheduled for that time. It's also giving me, based on what it knows about me, it's giving me an estimated distance, right? It's saying, hey, Ken, you should cover about 7.5 miles and change, right? Now, again, we typically coach to working around duration, not necessarily around distance. That's a big mindset shift for a lot of athletes but we've got 20 years worth of data to show this is the way to go, right? So don't stress, right? And don't be, oh, my app said about 7.68 and I ran 7.65, so let me do a lap around the parking lot just to get to that point eight. We don't need to, we don't need to do that silliness. Get the hour in, get it as prescribed, and let the distance be the distance. Even for me, probably, I can tell you tomorrow it's going to be hot. I'm probably walking those recovery intervals in between, so that's going to affect that distance a little bit too. But that's a really great way for a self-coached athlete to be able to make those changes in the app. Again, if you're a coach though, that is there for you. Talk to your coach though before making any changes, right? And your coach might say, "Yeah, I get it. You can only do an hour 15. See what happens if the system tells you to take it down to an hour." Or your coach might say, "I'll just make that change for you," right? But talk to your coach. It's what you pay us for. So we are happy to do it. All right. And then again, if you're not a coached athlete, just double down on what I said about understanding those TrainX scores and using them as a feedback mechanism, not necessarily as I've got to get 100 every single time. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's keep on rolling forward with some of the fun stuff here. Oh, the other thing I can do in here, right, is I can also come in and when I am modifying my workout, I can let me just see where we're at. Modifying the workout. So in here, you've got the ability to adjust your dates and your times. And let's see. I am looking for, oh, we talked about this earlier. I'm looking for the spot where you can move your workouts, right? You come into here and then you can drop and drag them on the different days. So if you need to reschedule the day, that's where you do it at. All right. Let's move on to the social fun, right? So, on the right-hand side of the play button, you see two little people there, and that's one way that you can launch into social. If you've never been into social before, it's going to ask you to set up a profile. So you can see for me, I'm at Coach Ken P. If you're already in social, the three little buttons on the top there, you can click them and you can see go to friends, groups, or your privacy and security. In privacy and security, this is where you can manage who can see what, right? So if I don't want people to know that I'm training because I want them to think I'm not doing anything and then I show up on race day and I dominate the field, you can hide that to only show you. Same with your profile. You don't need to expose it to anybody and you can, make sure that people can't find you on there. That's fine as well. Or you can expose this information to only people who follow you or people you follow back. Share activity to groups. So if I'm in a group of athletes, I'm automatically sharing my activities there. Maybe I don't want to do that. I can turn that off. Let me come back to my three dot menu. And then this is friends. So here's where you can find friends. You can see friends who are following you. You can follow them back. April, I can't believe I don't follow you. Actually, all these people out here, I can't believe I'm not following you all back. So just like Facebook, I'm pretty terrible with social, other than Instagram, like once a week. But that being said, I would love for all you to find me on here, follow me. I'll follow you back. I'll jump in here tonight and accept all my friend requests, but I am at Coach Ken P on here. Now within here, I can scroll through and I can see what all my other friends are doing. Chris just completed a walk outside. I can give him a reaction, a thumbs up, or any other reaction that I want to give. Let's see. Nicole, let's give Nicole a rocket ship just for fun. So I can do all of that. I can click in and oh, maybe I can't click in. Oh, thanks. I mean, this is the beauty of live demos, right? Got six different things running on my phone. Um, so you should be able to, and if you've allowed yourself to be shared, be able to see workouts, details of workouts. The other thing in here is if I go to my groups, like me personally, all of the athletes that I coach, I've got under Team KP coaching. I can click on there and then I can look at what all of my athletes are doing or not doing. We can give each other kudos in here or thumbs up or whatever emoji we want to drop in. So you can see that. You can see how your team members are doing. This is my personal group of coached athletes, but you can create a group for anything. Ken's friends that are training for the Pittsburgh 10 miler. And so everybody that I know that's training for that, we could be in here. A couple of features that are going to be rolling out in the near future, a leaderboard. So you could see who has the most consistent training, who has, the most consistent TrainX scores, or any number of other ways that you want to look. Who's collecting the most miles this week, things like that. So those are coming soon. And then milestones as well, right? Things like Victor just ran his first 5K, give him a high five. Or um, KO got a maybe a unicorn if they're if these mythical creatures are breaking out of their pens anytime soon. Keep teasing that. So be on the lookout. But just lots of fun ways to interact with others here. You can leave comments on workouts too, just to say, hey, things look really good. So like Peggy on here, I could click in and I could type a comment. And I'm not going to type one in right now because I just talked to her, but I could easily leave a reply to her workout there. So that's the social feature. And there are really cool things coming also with the social groups and in terms of how they're going to play with races and other things that I don't want to tease too much just yet, but keep your eyes open. It's one reason you'll absolutely want to be in the new app when these things roll out. And again, you do not have to be a coached athlete to be in one of these groups or to create one of these groups or to find and follow friends. So all of our self-coached athletes, if you've got a group of athletes that you train with and you want to organize a group, throw them in there. Keep each other motivated. Let's go get it together. Okay. Let me roll on to our settings here on the right-hand side. So there are a few different things that you see in here. Weekly schedule is just another way to get you back to the weekly view of your planned workouts. Training preferences is where you can go to schedule your training volume. How many sessions per week do you want to do? You can adjust those all here. Um, Great for self-coached athletes. Again, if you are a coached athlete, I would highly recommend that you talk to your coaches about making adjustments here before you make adjustments, because we as coaches do get notified when you update these things. So if you don't let us know, we will be reaching out to you. But this is where you can set those. One important thing to note on here is that just because I've got 5 weekly run workouts scheduled doesn't mean the system is going to prescribe me 5 run workouts. That is all again driven and based off of your training stress profile, your current long running duration, and your thresholds, right? We're not going to prescribe you more workouts than we believe that you can handle without getting injured. So again, this might be a situation where you're like, hey, I've got a coach, or maybe I'm self-coached and I want to do more. What do I do? Right? You can always, like my runners, I always say, okay, let's do a little bit more walking, right? Like time on feet is a good thing and you're going to minimize that impact. So just because you don't have a fifth run in there, I might go on and just add a fifth walk for you, right? And so if you don't have a coach that can do that for you, just know that's always an option. You're never going to hear me say no to that. Um, if you've got some extra time and your friends are going out for a gravel ride and you don't have that third bike on your calendar, okay, if you're coached, talk to your coach about it for sure. But if it's going to be just an easy zone 2 ride down the trail, right? Make a judgment call. Go and get it in. Even if you've scheduled 3 workouts here on the bike and it's still not giving you that one, right? Um, be in tune with how you're feeling and don't overdo it and keep your eye on your weekly training stress and just make sure you're not overdoing it. But I just like to point that out in there because sometimes athletes will say, well, I said 5 runs. Why don't I have 5 runs on my calendar? Well, you probably can't handle 5 runs right now, and it's a fast way to get injured. So you want to do something, walk the dog, right? And record it. Like, go ahead, get some credit for walking the dog. That's fine. but let's not get you injured. Okay, backing up, you've got schedule settings. So this is where you can say, oh, my swims, I need those on Fridays. So you can easily change these. One addition that we made in the new app that wasn't available in the old app is the ability to have really what we call almost like unlimited flexibility on what you schedule where. Now, again, if you are an uncoached athlete, I would recommend going with what the system initially recommends, and then just make sure you're not stacking your high intensity days one after another or on top of each other. So you can see on my Tuesday bike there's a little line underneath of it, and it's got like this little bit of a red tint to it. That means that's the most intense session of the week. And the purple one on Saturday means that's going to be the longest session of the week. So the ones that don't have lines under them, those are going to be more of your recovery sessions or your aerobic base building sessions. Those are ones, you can feel a little bit better about stacking or moving with each other. But this does give you the ability to, hey, I got to do all my swims at the beginning of the week or um, all my bikes on Saturday, Sunday. You've got the ability now to customize things, right? And then here's where I can also set the time of day. Is this generally an indoor or an outdoor activity? Just so those defaults save. Um, and on the long sessions for the bike, if I click on those long locked sessions on that main calendar, now I've got the ability to move these around. So once you set these, this is the long run and the long bike. These are really the important sessions for the week. And then I go back to the main calendar. You see there's a little lock on those. So those are saying, hey, these were the long sessions, these are the anchor sessions. You should really work to plan around these. So to move the long sessions, click on them, it comes up, you got your freedom to move there. And again, now you're not limited to a Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday like you were previously. You can set these on any days that work for you. Okay, that's training settings. Training info. This basically is when did you start swimming, biking, and running? How much experience do you have with these sports? What race division are you in? And your general assessments. When you do your assessments, are they generally a 20-minute power test? Is it a 15-mile time trial out on the trail? This is where you can set those. Also, in your training preferences, do you want to include strength and do you want to display other activity, right? So that's like, hey, I recorded yoga on my Garmin. Do I want that to show up on my training calendar or not? Toggle it on or off from these settings here. Now, continuing to move through devices and apps. This is where you connect your Garmin, your Apple Watch. Big thing for our iOS users or our Apple Watch users. You no longer need the Dot Connect app. All of your Apple Watch sessions are now built straight into the app here. It's a lot more of a seamless process. You can make sure that your watch and your iPhone meet the requirements that are needed. There's a compatibility check you can just hit. It'll come up, it'll tell you, yeah, it's going to work, or no, your equipment's a little bit out of date, which for me, I like to make fun of people for having old iPhones and Apple Watches, but my Garmin is a Phoenix 5. It's not even like a 5S. So, we make trade-offs on where we spend our technology money. But this is where you can set up all of that information. You've got your cycling platforms, you've got your devices and other apps, and you can get them all set up straight from there. All right, back into the menu here, settings and preferences. You've got your profile related information, other health data that you might have in here. This is basically just saying that it can collect health data from other devices like a heart rate monitor, those types of things, Apple Health, my account billing, where I can change my subscription types. Here's another way to get it into connected devices, just from your regular settings. Training preferences, again, this takes us kind of back to where we were. So you have multiple ways to get into things. I'm clicking the wrong spots here. Um, Notification preferences, right? Enable push notifications. So this is when you get notifications saying, "Hey, we processed your last workout. Click here, zoom in, take a look at it." This is where you might also maybe soon have the option to turn on mythical creature notifications if you like those. So that's all in notification preferences. This way you're not inundated by a bunch of notifications. Like I know I just went through my Apple notifications the other day and turned off a whole bunch. Like I'm getting stuff I don't even care about, right? Like, and I'm sure you all are too. I would encourage you to care about the TriDot notifications, but it is all up to you. So this is the type of notifications you will get if you want to email notifications or don't. I know a lot of athletes like to get the emails of their workouts. I would, if you are a coached athlete, say, you know, emails are fine, they're fun, but what if your coach is adding comments right throughout the day or before you do your workout? Use the push notifications. It's a much faster and more seamless way of doing things. Data preferences are in here. So my swim data, I like to push it to Garmin. My file format is generally a fit. My pool size is 25 yards. I like to add extra time before every single warm up or extra time to my warm up rather, or before my cool down starts. You can do all that as defaults here in your preferences, and that's true for bike and run. And then audio preferences. So I have the audio coach turned off generally. I do like the audio coach talking to me. I talked about that earlier, but I like to do that, before I actually go and start the workout itself. So by default, I have them turned off, and then I decide if I want to turn it on because like if I'm listening to a podcast or audiobook, I usually don't listen for the coach, but if I'm listening to music, I turn the coach on. Be a good poll. What do people like? Playlists, audiobooks, or podcasts? Um, all right, don't have to answer me right now. Privacy and security, again, you can handle all of that from that main menu. That gives you your social privacy and security. We looked at how to enter that earlier through the other app, but here's a very quick and easy way to do it. Notifications, right? So I click on here, I can see who started following me. I can see that my run test was processed, and several others that I've got on here. If I click on those, it'll take me into the workouts themselves. If my coach left me a message, this is where it would show up as well. I get a little notification on the workouts themselves or within the workouts. I can see those, but if the coach sends me something right away, I'll get a notification there. And then right now, questions just funnel you straight to our support staff. In the future, there will be a more interactive learn and ask section that you can interact with like we've had in the past. So that is coming soon. Whew, all right, that was a lot. And I see we've got I think 2 minutes before I was supposed to pause for questions, but let me see what else we've got out there. If we've got anything we want to start Q&A early. Or maybe I'm 3 minutes early. Maybe I was supposed to leave 10 minutes for questions.
You're right on time, Ken.
Hey, Ken, I just have a super basic question because I was trying to look on my phone at my TriDot app on my phone since yeah, I have you on my computer. So how do you download or access or transition to this new app, or is it available yet? Or
Yeah, great. So it's in the App Store. If you whether you're on an Android app or Apple app, if you just go to the App Store and type
okay,
in TriDot, it should be the first one, hopefully, that pops up.
great.
It actually does. I actually am on it. I'm excited because I get to see my distance in the national, the time prediction. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Good. Good, good, good. I love it. Um, And so, yeah, as you play with it, as you experiment, ask questions, I'm sure, of the coaches here, and then also don't hesitate to reach out to me with other questions too.
So does this replace the other one that we have, or we can
Yes.
just
Yep.
leave from okay.
Yep, it will replace
Perfect.
the other one. Right now you can still access both, obviously, but we'll be moving most folks to the new one sooner rather than later. And again, I know there's a learning curve, and sometimes when you're trying something new, things can be a little bit frustrating. But whatever those frustrations might be, let me know because I need to make that better. And the other really cool thing, like I said, is moving to this new technology we're going to be able to iterate and develop so much faster and get so many more new exciting features out there for you all that I can't wait to hear the feedback.
Do we have to go in and put in all our metrics that we had in the old one before? Does it transfer automatically over?
Everything should come over automatically. Yep.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and that's what, all of that secret sauce that we've got on the back end, like I was saying earlier, that's all still intact. This is just a new way to interact with it.
On the screen that when we went and it says set up your profile, it has my name on it. What username is it asking me to put in? What is it
Yep. So
requiring?
that's going to be, so it's probably a screen that wants you to put like an at username for your social profile setup.
Okay.
You're in the right spot. So you can just, use your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle, whatever makes sense. Now actually on Instagram, I'm coach.kenp, but here we only support I think alphanumeric usernames. I couldn't put the dot in.
Okay. Thank you.
And I just got to say, I've been using the new app for a couple of months now. I actually do like turning on the coach, the voice coach. I just love the encouraging, funny sometimes coaching messages I get. Uh, I, thank you for being here. Thank you for also kind of tailoring to self-coached athletes. I think it's I think there's a lot of value for self-coached athletes. And I'm going to say I'm now on your pilot user group for the coaching portal. My goodness. Uh, it's everything we ever asked for. So thanks, Ken. This is it's
Almost,
exciting.
not quite yet, but it'll be there
Yeah,
soon.
it's pretty,
And
it's pretty good.
yes, yeah, and there will be a fresh web experience for our athletes very soon as well, right? So the things that you're seeing, your athletes will see hopefully sooner rather than later too.
Awesome.
I just want to say I just downloaded it and opened it up, and all my information's right there. So it worked within
Well,
like a minute, less than
Awesome.
60 seconds. Yeah.
Fantastic. And yeah,
wow,
I
this
would
is
again
beautiful.
encourage start anything that you see, anything that works well or doesn't work well, or you're like, hey, I did the audio coach and they said something that seemed a little bit off, right? Let me know. That's all the stuff that we're going to use to make the app better. And again, you can get me at ken ken.prasuti at tridot.com or Instagram coach.kenp on there, and I will take messages from anywhere.
Ken, thank you so much. We have about 2 more minutes for questions, and then we'll wrap up for the night.
I'm colorblind, so these colors are helpful.
We we are gonna work on some accessibility options too. One of our lead developers is colorblind, so we've got him on that.
Wonderful.
I'm loving the colors. I'm like, wow. I'm not gonna go to bed tonight. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I love it.
Oh, hey, Ken, I was going to ask, what is, I mean, this is maybe kind of a future product roadmap thing about having biometrics from our devices, from our wearables, things like heart rate variability, resting heart rate. Um,
Absolutely. We want to integrate with several of the providers that are out there, right? Like personally, I wear a Whoop. Jeff, our CEO, wears an Aura Ring. So we definitely want to bring all of that in. Right now, if you're using an Apple Watch or you're using Garmin Health, you can connect those devices. So while we're not displaying that data, it is being tracked and used to help update your training stress profile. But like I said, especially for self-coached athletes, right? If I log on and I'm in the red, or if anybody uses Whoop and you know where the death coin is, I've had those from time to time, and like that's not a day that you're gonna go hit some threshold repeats. Being able to see that and then adapt and okay, maybe I pull up my easy run to today and push that harder one out a couple days till I fully recover is the way to go. So, um, if you have got a death coin, I would like you to message me about that too, because it's a rare club.
Yeah, maybe just a quick, I mean, I use both Training Peaks and TriDot, and so I'm sure, anyway, but like Training Peaks has gotten so that when I open up the account, it gives me that information that Rich just talked about. And it
Yep.
kind of tells me like, am I under or over, some of those key metrics? So if
Yep.
TriDot wants to kind of appropriate that in, I mean, that's great to know that TriDot already incorporates that data because I have a Garmin watch, but
Yeah.
it is kind of a nice feature to like just see it right there, like, oh, I slept the same as normal, or my HRV is a little low, or in other words, it shows what my regular range is, and am I
Yep.
outside of that or not? So
Yeah. All of that is 100% coming, right? So, because what I need is for my coach to continue to tell me I'm not sleeping enough.
Mhm.
Like,
So
I know, I see the data, I know.
Yeah.
mm,
so, so currently the Garmin watch that I actually connect with the old one will be able to work on this one the same way.
Yep. And the connections should automatically come over. You shouldn't need to log into, I brought you to that device apps. If you go over there, you'll be able to see what is actually connected. So again, you hit the bars on the bottom right-hand side, click devices and apps, and it should show you what's already connected. And then if for some reason something's not connected, right, just click on it again. Should allow you to re-authenticate and reopen it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me see if I go into Garmin. Yep, all there.
Well, Ken, thank you again. This is just fantastic, and we just appreciate you taking the time to really break this down. I think you got a bunch of new users of the new app, and a lot of excitement around it. And we also really appreciate you being willing to help if there are any issues or questions going forward. So thank you for that. And this was great. So
I
yeah, thanks
appreciate
very
it.
much. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for
appreciate
your
y'all.
time.